Hello students, welcome to the part 2 of the straight line chapter. In this part, we'll talk about angle between two lines, right? How to find that angle, how to solve few problems of such categories, right? And I'll help you understand after proving all of them to you, right? So let's start. Angle between two lines. If theta be the angle between two lines, now we have to specify the lines. First line is y equals to m1x plus c1. Second line is y equals to m2x plus c2. Right? Then, let's suppose these two lines make the angle theta, as said, right? So tan theta can be written as plus minus m1 minus m2 over 1 plus m1 m2. Very simple formula, guys. Okay, note. These are two angles, right, formed between two lines. So there are two angles, right? Plus minus, you have to consider this. So there is not one, but two angles. These are two angles formed between two lines, but usually the acute angle is taken, right, as the angle between the line. Because in between this is also an angle which is in between the two lines, right? And this is also angle between the two lines. So generally, we take the acute angle, right, to find the angle between the two lines, right? So we shall take, right, or take the positive value of tan theta to find the angle, right? Now, let's take an example of three lines which are forming a triangle, right? So extra information J Advanced can ask you. Let M1, M2, M3 be the slopes of three lines. L1 equals to 0, L2 equals to 0, and L3 equals to 0, where M1 greater than M2 greater than M3, right? Then the interior angles of triangle ABC can be calculated by these formulas. Tan A equals to M1 minus M2 over 1 plus M1 M2, right? Tan B equals to M2 minus M3 over 1 plus M2 M3, right? Tan C M3 minus M1 over 1 plus M1 M3, right? These are the formulas, right? Second one, B. If the equation, right, of lines are A1x plus B1y plus C1 equals to 0 and A2x plus B2y plus C2 equals to 0, right? If there are two lines, then these lines are first, if they're parallel to each other, then we know if they're parallel, the slope should be equal, right? Slope is nothing but minus, if you remember, minus coefficient of x upon coefficient of y, right? So minus a1 by b1 should be equal to minus a2 by b2. If we cancel out minus also, it gives us a1 by a2 equals to b1 by b2. It should be not equal to c1 by c2, because if c1 by c2 is also equal, then they are exactly the same lines, right? So for them to be different lines, one specific thing should be different, and it can't be slope because they're parallel, so it should be same. So the only thing which can be different is the intercept, right? Second, if they're perpendicular, so we know, right, if they're perpendicular, then the multiplication of both the slopes should be equals to -1. The slope of the first line is minus coefficient of x1 upon coefficient of y1 into slope of second line is minus coefficient of the second line of x minus a2 over b2 equals to -1. So what we can say is a1 a2 equals to minus b1 b2. We can say is a1 a2 plus b1 b2 is equals to 0 if the lines are perpendicular to each other. What if the lines are coincident? That is exactly the same line. Coincident, right? So here everything will be same. A1 by A2 equals to B1 by B2 equals to C1 by C2. Because coincident line means one over another, right? So they're exactly the same. Okay. Now I'll talk about one more topic, that is straight line making a given angle with a line, right? To finish off this topic. Okay. Straight line making a given angle with a line, right? Now, equation of a line passing through point, let's suppose any point x1 comma y1, and making an angle alpha with the line y equals to mx plus c is written as y minus y1 equals to slope into x minus x1. The important thing to remember here is the slope. The slope will be m plus minus tan alpha over 1 minus plus m into tan alpha, where tan alpha is the slope of the other line, right? So I guess that's it. Thank you so much, right? If you want to solve more questions and know the derivations of all the formulas, you can any day, personally message me in my urban group profile, right? Thank you so much, guys.